wonderful to see your lovely unmasked faces. I hope it's okay. I really do. I really do. It's great to be here. This is one of my very favorite days of the year, the Sports and Social Justice Symposium. There are many great traditions at Springfield College. We talked just briefly about this in the earlier program. You know, sweet little things. We don't walk on the grass, right? We wear our beanies at NSO. Lots and lots of traditions. To me, two of the most enduring ones on this campus are the traditions of sports and of social justice. The sports tradition is obviously deeply embedded in this culture from the get-go. Right? We are obviously, newsflash, the birthplace of basketball here. We have one statue on this campus. It's James Naismith. They're an old YMCA school. We have minted many, many coaches and many leaders across the sports universe. That continues to be true. The social justice legacy is every bit as strong, and it is also threaded through the entire history of this campus from its founding. And you can see many, many examples of that. Prominent ones like the unforgettable appearance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as our commencement speaker in 1964 amid some remarkable circumstances. The fact that we had women's varsity athletic teams here well ahead of Title IX. We are about to launch a fantastic celebration of 50 years of Title IX. Can't wait, some great, great programming coming on that front. And we've certainly seen in recent years some great strides on this campus, things that we should rightly be proud of. And I think it's also important that we don't get too addicted to patting ourselves on the back, and that we make sure that we always take an unflinching look in the mirror and make sure that we are living up to our own lofty words in our Humanics philosophy. Just as Americans, we should always be called to task to live up to the lofty words in our founding documents about being created equal, about we the people, about liberty and justice for all. Right? Those are beautiful words, but they only mean something if we do something about it. And on this campus, one of the things that we try to do is this symposium. And it has been a terrific partnership. It's been so much fun for me to work with Calvin on this over the years. It's become just a wonderful friendship. And there are many, many people on this campus who are deeply involved in these pursuits. You know, administrators, faculty, staff, students. I love the energy around social justice on this campus right now, and we really need to keep it going. It's been great. As Calvin says, we've had some terrific speakers here during this symposium. Right? Those people include people like Bilquis Abdul-Qadir, who broke the Massachusetts state scoring record that had been set by Rebecca Lobo, you know, who I think maybe broke some record by Naomi Graves, possibly, right? You know, who was a pretty good rooster back in the day, too. And Bilquis averaged 41.7 points per game. What? Averaged? Yes, averaged 41.7 points per game as a senior. I mean, it's crazy, but she did. Went on and had a Division I career playing in full Islamic covering and defying stereotypes at every turn. And she came and was an amazing keynote speaker here. We brought back Justin Zook, who is a Springfield College graduate, who was born without a growth plate in his leg and had to have multiple surgeries. I think it was like 18 surgeries before he came to Springfield College. Had the leg broken again and again and again. And he was a record-setter swimmer on the Springfield College swim team and a 3-time gold medalist in the Paralympic Games. We brought back Justine Siegel, who got a graduate degree here, and she is a pioneer in women's baseball, and she was an assistant coach for Mark Simeone on the baseball team. At the time, the only women's college baseball coach in the country. She subsequently threw batting practice for 6 or 7 major league teams. She still is carrying that torch very effectively with her organization, Baseball for All. Many great programs. And we try to touch on something a little different every year. And very excited for today's program, which is going to explore the topic of the black coach as a social justice figure. And to that end, we are just so thrilled to welcome Aaron Kelton back to Springfield College. Aaron has this really youthful appearance, and it's a little maddening, but he's, somehow it claims, the bio claims that you graduated in 1991. So that's before even I was here. I came in 1999. And Aaron has occupied the world of football coach for almost all the time since. And he has done so at many places, in many roles. He has had stints in the NFL, in internship programs there. He has been a head coach for lofty, highly academic Division III programs like Williams College. Also a pretty good program, not quite Springfield College quality, but they're a pretty good place up the road in Williamstown. I read something, I was just preparing for this, saw something about when he was interviewed for that job. He just said that 8-0 is always going to be the goal. Right? As NESCAC, that's what they do. They just play eight-game seasons. It was a pretty, ballsy thing to say. I use that term. First year, 8-0. I mean, come on. And most recently, Aaron has been a coach at Calvin Hill's alma mater, Howard University, a incredibly significant and influential HBCU in Washington, D.C. And I was fully prepared to introduce him in that role, but the guy's just on the move, and he has just this week accepted a head coaching position at Savannah State down in Georgia, which is, I believe, the first public HBCU in the state of Georgia. So congrats on that. So anyway, the format for our program is this. It's going to be informal. It's not pre-scripted in any way. I haven't, shown any questions to Aaron. We like to have a conversation, and you'll see he is mighty good on his feet. I've seen that in just a few minutes of talking with him. And we just want to sort of talk about his journey, how he got here, what his experience was like here, his thoughts about race and coaching and the dearth of black coaches, maybe any suggestions he might have for us on this campus, because that's obviously an issue that we are needing to do a better job of right here at Springfield College. The Brian Flores suit, all of it. And we are going to go, it's now 10 of, we're going to go just the two of us, if it's going smoothly, for maybe 25 or 30 minutes, and then open it up for another 15 or 20 minutes for Q&A from the audience. And then at the end of this, we are going to be having a very special presentation. We end the Sports and Social Justice Symposium with an award that is given out to one student athlete who has excelled off the field, off the court, in terms of this person's social justice commitment. And it's an award that is given out in the name of Tom Waddell. Tom Waddell, who is an absolute iconic presence at Springfield College. I think you'd be hard pressed. A lot of people say, that someone great at Springfield College, that they quote unquote embodied the Humanics philosophy, right? That's like the biggest compliment you can give someone at Springfield College. They embodied the Humanics philosophy. I don't know that anybody ever did it better than Tom Waddell. He was Mr. Humanics. And he has an amazing, amazing story, which I'd be happy to talk about at another point, because today we have a great agenda and I don't want to cut that short. But that award, the Tom Waddell Award, is literally, it's called the Leveling the Playing Field Award. That's a sports metaphor, right? That you want to level the playing field, and that's something that we do. That's something that we try to do. We know that the world is unfair in a lot of ways, and it's the job of adults to try to make it more fair. And so we find someone, a student athlete here, who has worked hard to do that, and we have found a great person to win that award today. So that's how we will conclude our program. All that said, I'd like to introduce you, Aaron, and welcome you back. And first give you an opportunity for any sort of introductory comments, and then I'm going to barrage you with all kinds of compelling questions.
First of all, thank you for being here, because you could be doing so many other things other than listening to me talk, okay? And that's what we want to do. We want to talk, because that's what needs to happen. That's how you create the change, having conversation. Don't make an assumption. Talk about it. Figure it out. It's okay to have different opinions. It's okay. But if you don't talk about it, you'll never know it. So that's the first thing. And thanks to my good friend Jim, who drove down from Albany to support me, and to the football staff, you know, my former teammate, Coach Sarasulo. It's just great to be back. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my jacket off, because I'm at home. Okay, I don't wear a jacket at home. So because I want this to be comfortable. You know, when I'm in my house, I'm never with a jacket. So and Springfield's my home. It will always be my home. And you know, so I'm looking forward to this opportunity right here. Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm going to take that cue. Oh, that is better.
That's okay.
I tell you, you're absolutely right. That is much better. Free at last. This is good. All right, so Aaron and I were talking just a little bit before this, just a few minutes, and about his journey to come to Springfield College. And he grew up in the Boston area, and he went to Wellesley High through a program called the Metco Program, and he described that as being a really influential part of his development. And the Metco Program is basically a busing program that exists to this day in Boston that tries to equalize schools and generally brings students of color into suburban schools, and it deepens those suburban schools, gives them some diversity and some added perspectives that are really valuable to the suburban schools, and also offers to the students who are being bused in, ideally, some heightened educational opportunities. And Metco is a program that had a lot of support and was also very controversial in Boston. And we were talking just briefly about one of the worst, I think, worst images in American history was during the Boston busing crisis. And there was this African-American man who was attacked right downtown in Boston by this guy wielding a large American flag, and took the staff of that flag, and these guys were holding him back and was just jabbing this, and this image it's a Pulitzer Prize winning photo. And so that was right in the whole busing world too. I wonder if you could just share with us your experience of Metco, what it was like, your first days being, what it was like for your family. You're really kind of a pioneer figure, I imagine, doing this in your family.
It's very interesting when I think about those times in my life. It was easier for me because I went to Wellesley, and my dad was the coordinator for the town of Wellesley for Metco. So that was a dynamic in its own right. But I had my brothers and sisters with me as well. But in early days and first days, it's hard. I went from first grade, and so when I walked in the classroom, there was no one who looked like me from the town of Wellesley. Okay, and so you're instantly put into you don't know when you're 5 and 6 years old, what to make of it. But as I think back on it, there were times where I probably was going through an uncomfortable feeling, if you will. And I also think about how those Wellesley students felt, because they had never been around me or associated much with young black kids or students of color in general. Okay, and so that experience early on is traumatic in a lot of ways. We had to get up in the morning early, a lot earlier than a lot of our friends who were going to the local city school, to get on a bus and ride 45 minutes to the town of Wellesley to go to school. So there were a lot of questions to my mom, why do we have to do this, that, and the other? And her favorite answer was, because I told you so. Okay? But also, she was instrumental in being able to explain that this is going to help you later on. You don't see it right now, but it'll help you later. And so, I give her all the credit for really accepting that and understanding it and doing it for us. So.
Yeah, sometimes those, I think, are hard choices for parents. I know one of my classes right now, we're working on this project with our students from Nepal, and one of the stories is this profile of this guy, Prashant. Some of you might know him, and the story tells about how Prashant was taken out of his home as a young child going to boarding school and was crying every night on the phone, every single night, and his parents were crying too. And but there was just a sense that they knew this was going to be good for you in the long run. It's kind of what your parents were saying as well. So you went on through Wellesley schools, and I assume played football at Wellesley High?
Yeah.
And so
football, basketball, baseball, everything that we could do. Part of the ease for me was through athletics. Because certainly the school district was challenging academically for us, and it's hard because you have to manage two communities. Because I'm in school all day in Wellesley, and then I come home and I'm not in the community school where all my friends from home are. So you have to kind of understand how to balance it, okay? And then in the summertime, I'm home all the time. Right, so they're like, well, we don't see you that much in town, And then I was okay, I guess, as a player. And so when they would read about something that we were doing in Wellesley, my brother and I, as football players, when you get back in town, or in basketball or baseball, you get in town and they say, well, you couldn't do that here in the city school, So we had to prove ourselves in a lot of communities that way. But we did okay. We did okay.
Well, you must have been okay enough to have been recruited here at Springfield College and arrived here in the fall of '87. And that was, in one sense, kind of replicating your experience in Wellesley, in that you're coming to a predominantly white school. I mean, here you are now coaching at a historically black school. You have just most recently been as well. What were your first impressions of this campus from a racial perspective? And I know you mentioned to me, and not surprising to me because I got a chance to meet Mr. Wilson, that John Wilson, and you can see, those of you who are not familiar, if you walk out after this program, don't leave now because there's good stuff to come, but afterwards you'll see John's portrait right on the wall here among this sort of Hall of Fame of our students of color. What were your first impressions of this campus from a racial perspective, and then can you talk about what John meant to you?
Okay. Certainly, getting on campus, for all the student athletes here, recruiting is fun. It's hard. It's fun, right? For coaches, we love to recruit, especially when you find a good one, okay, and somebody who you think can help your program. So when I got on campus, the football team had a number of students of color on it who had been through the process. They were sophomores, juniors, even some seniors, who Coach paired us with. Coach DeLong did a fantastic job. Coach Holland called me every day and talked hockey. Yeah, he talked hockey to me every day. And there's Coach, right? The blue shirts, Coach, who are the blue shirts? I'm a Bruin. What are you talking about, right? Like, that's how our conversations would go. But Coach paired us with students of color and great players here. The Greg Barnetts, the Tarif Waters, those kind of, the Brian Matthews, those guys who had been through the experience. And those were the open conversations and dialogue that we had. But the other part of it was talking with guys who we knew from playing in all-star games and different things like that, who were up on the visit, okay? And we all made a commitment that, on our visit, our official visit during spring ball, that we were coming. You coming, I'm coming. You know, Tito Raymond, are you coming? Are you coming? You know, I'm yelling out names. Mike's getting excited over there because he knows all these guys. The John Markarts and different people. And what was unique is we were coming from different places. From Wakefield, from New Hampshire, from Connecticut, you know, and Coach did a great job of pulling us all together. As we walked around campus, that was one of my questions. Okay, where the black people? Okay, I know in Springfield, but like, where are the black people on campus? Okay, and then it's John Wilson, and John was the person. He was the bridge for all of us. Okay, before you guys had this great building, okay, the BC, the older people know the BC was the spot, and John had a little cubbyhole office that was probably from that wall to about right here. Okay, right in the doorway as you go through the BC, it was right there. Every student of color was in there 4 or 5 times a day. He was the bridge. He was the guy who held it together. He was the guy when things got tough and I said, I'm leaving. He said, nope, stay. Okay, so the guy has a special place for me because he'd been through some stuff. If he had, you know, God rest his soul, but if he was here and had to talk about me, he would say glowing stuff, but there was more bad stuff that was going on that he helped me out of than the good. Okay, and I went to John more than I did Coach DeLong. Okay, because that's the relationship we built. Okay, and he just epitomized what it meant to be a supporter, a mentor, you know, and what Springfield College was about for me. And I can say this honestly, he met my wife and accepted her, made her feel like she was a Springfield alum, you know. And my wife talks about John to this day, you know. So she'll be excited to see the mural up there of him and all that stuff. And so you guys are lucky, okay, because you got people right now here at the college in this kind of a forum, okay, who are talking to you about social justice, who are helping you navigate every day of your life before you get out into the real world. We had John. Maybe a coach that you could pull to the side and talk to a couple things, but coach wanted to know why you missed the read, okay, and didn't give, right, or whatever. We're talking sports with the coach, but I'm talking about somebody who truly is a mentor, okay. Greg was here during those times, he can tell you, okay, and certainly it's people like Craig who I've gotten to know, you know, like in my time here, who I just have so much respect for, like I do John, because he was the guy, you know.
And you hear this story from so many students of color who came through, that John was really the glue. And I have now been here long enough that my time does extend back to having had the good fortune of meeting John, working with him on a few things. And you know, I've heard versions of this from many people. Terry Poe, who's a great friend of the college, and she's a principal of an elementary school that's, you know, 4-minute walk from right here, who is just an unbelievable leader in the city of Springfield community. And it's just, I had a great fortune of sort of shadowing her for part of a day at her elementary school, and just used to see this endless outpouring of love for kids in the city of Springfield. And she tells the same story, that basically that John Wilson kept her on campus, and that there were lots of times where she just felt like she was ready to go, and it was too lonely, there was not enough support. You know, we have, and it's true that in recent years there have been some demographic shifts on this campus. Calvin has done a great job of pointing out to us basically how America is changing, and how Springfield College, you know, primarily because it's the right thing and it's going to make us a better campus, but also because this is the way the world is becoming. Our country is becoming more black and more brown, and it's better that way. You know, it is, we have an opportunity to really, we talk a lot about leadership on this campus, and this is an area where we need to lead, and we've taken some strides, and there are many more still to come. I know that from the coaching perspective, I asked you just casually beforehand, I said, were there any black coaches on the staff? And you said, none at all. So when did you know that like coaching was something that you wanted to do, and did you have a sense that as a black man that there were going to be some obstacles?
I never wanted to be a coach. Never. Didn't even think about it when I was playing. I always was invested in human services and really helping people. That's what I would do. So when I was here at Springfield, I interned at one of the local agencies and worked with developmentally delayed adults and independent living situation. I also did that with young teens when I got out of college. And then what I did was I took a job at Wayland High School as the Metco Coordinator because I'd been through the program and I wanted to support those students and what they were going through. And so I did that for 4 years, and because I was in education and I needed something to do because all my friends didn't get out until 7 o'clock from work, I went and coached football back at Wellesley High School and got the itch that way, and then I coached basketball as well. Took the spring off so I could enjoy the sun, and that got me jump started into coaching. And then I took a job at MIT, then went to Clarion in Pennsylvania, then went to West Virginia. It's been a long road. Then went to Virginia State in Petersburg, Virginia. Left there and went to Columbia in New York. Left Columbia, got the Williams job. Was at Williams for 6 years. Went to Shorter in Georgia for 2 years. After Shorter, went to Morgan State for 1, then Howard, and then now I'm at Savannah State as the referee.
So you clearly have like more college IDs than
That's
anyone in the room.
That's a lot of years. So I'm getting older. That's all that means.
Doesn't look like it to me, but yeah, that is quite a journey, and I guess it's part of the coaching path, right? You have to be open to this. You have to understand that you're going to pour your heart and soul into a position for a long period of time, and that digging in for the long haul at one institution doesn't happen all that often. It happens sometimes on this campus, it's true, but this is something that you've really had to do in a number of different stops along the way, and then head coaching positions, the first one at Williams College. What was that experience like? You're going to this, I mean, this is a very, highly academic, well-regarded place that's way, way out in the country. Williamstown, Massachusetts. I mean, this is, probably makes Wellesley, look like Dorchester.
If you ever been to Clarion, Pennsylvania, northwestern PA, and then I was at Concord, it's university now, it was college when I was there. That's, in Athens, West Virginia. Okay, so there's one light in Athens, West Virginia. There is a, I don't know what they call it now, but a Go-Mart, okay, down the street. They had one corner with a CVS, a pizza shop, the bank, and the video store. We used to go to the store to get videos, okay, and watch it. Y'all got Redbox and all that. We had to go in the store, right? A Blockbuster, but it was too small to be a Blockbuster. It was the neighborhood, the neighborhood guy. He never had anything new, it was something you were watching from the early 80s. So, and I was there by myself, so I had to learn and adjust. And that's what you do in this business. But for me, it's always been about the kids. It's about the players. It's about the students on campus. It's about being involved. That's why I do this. Okay, it's bigger than me. I tell people all the time, I'm just a guy who has to speak about it. Okay, it's really about the successes that the student athletes have. Okay, that the students on campus have. To get to your point, being at Williams, I tried to get involved in everything. Okay, it was different. It's a different place. You're recruiting a different kid. But for for me, I totally engulfed myself in the community. My family was involved. I curated an art exhibit. Like, really? I knew nothing about it, but I had to go and learn about it, curate it, and they put it in the paper. It was all, I was like, this is too much. But it was fun. It gave me some culture, right? It helped me to develop who I am. And that's all I'm trying to do, is to continue to grow as a person, as a leader, as a black man out in the world today, to be an example for what people can say, you know what, he's a stand-up guy, he's all right. If I can, like I said earlier to someone, if you can just pull one with you, okay, and teach him and help him, you got one more who's doing it the right way, and I think I'll try to do it the right way.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a great model for all of your players about just the commitment to ongoing personal growth and deepening, and that's high-level coaching. That has nothing to do with the X's and O's, but it really has to do with what this thing should be all about. What sort of community exists among black football coaches in America, black college football coaches? What sort of connections are there, and what sort of discussions are there these days?
So early in my career, in the early 90s, there was a Black Coaches and Administrators Association that was created that identified a lot of the issues that were going on at that particular time. John Thompson from Georgetown really was a big figure at the time in the 80s when he took his team off the floor, and because it was Title 76 or something. It had to do around SAT scores and different stuff that was going on, the inequalities around those kinds of things. And then the shift started to move towards representation in athletics, okay, which continues to this day. Just in a couple, I wrote down some stuff just in terms of football. At the BCS level, we have 14 head coaches, black head coaches, okay, and that's only 10% of the 130 BCS schools. And what I try to tell the guys is, get in at the lower levels, earn your stripes, get it, check all the boxes, okay? Because and I was talking to another Springfield alumnus who was a good player, loved Springfield, Keywan Ware. I was explaining to him, when you go through the process, you don't want them to tell you, we're not hiring you because you haven't done this. So if you go to the lower level, right? I'm a head coach, I'm running a program, I got budget, I do recruiting, this, that, and I'm checking all those boxes that they typically go through. You probably have a better experience at a lower level also, because it's going to probably be a little bit less pressure, okay? And it allows you to get your feet wet and it gives you some stability in your life. And you can have a great living at lower levels. We glorify this, I want to be a head football coach at Notre Dame or wherever. There's only 130 of those jobs, and if you ain't in that network, you ain't getting it, so it don't matter. It don't matter. I could have won every single season, at Williams and been undefeated. Well, I was not getting the job, at UMass or at wherever school, coming out of there. So to me, you really have to go through process. Again, we mentioned my man,
Terry?
Yeah, Terry, he talked about patience.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to have patience in this business. You got to have patience in what we do. But now they've created a couple of organizations to kind of come off of the Black Coach Association is no longer. Floyd Keefe was running it for a long time, and then they no longer exist. And so they've created the Black Football Coaches Association to specifically deal with these issues. But again, it's these 14 BCS coaches and who they've hired as coordinators, so they're not thinking about us smaller college guys who love this game and work just as hard, probably harder than they do, with less resources and staff. Okay, so, I mean, this is a great question, because last night when I was driving up here from Maryland, I called one of my guys who's a consultant and said, look, we need to get a coaches association for smaller coaches, smaller college coaches, where we can start talking about and identifying how, you know, we can get more representation at the smaller levels, because there are more schools than 130, and
Absolutely.
affect the change that way. And if we get started at a smaller level, then it'll start to grow. So we're going to be spearheading something here in the next, you know, year or so. We'll get something going. So.
And obviously, it echoes up to the very highest levels. I mean, this has become, at the NFL, this has become a big controversy, the Brian Flores thing, and I saw just yesterday that there were 2 other coaches who joined in with that suit, the discrimination suit against the NFL. And you know, for those not following this story, it's you know, the world that is presented of the NFL. They have this thing called the Rooney Rule, which ostensibly is designed to ensure that coaches of color are going to get interviews. But in practice, what has pretty clearly happened is that in a lot of cases, this has just been cooked in advance, and that there's at least one prominent white coach who has admitted that he was told that he was going to get a job once they had completed their interview process to go interview the 2 black guys afterwards, so that they had given the appearance of having done their due diligence. So I'm curious, from your perspective as a college coach, how much did that Brian Flores suit, how much did that sort of reverberate for you? How much is it a part of discussions that you have with other college coaches?
It's right at the forefront. You know, we all talked about it in a bunch of different ways, because that happens on our level as well. Okay, to be perfectly honest, most of the time people are hiring. I mean, they're going to a search firm to hire their buddy. So it looks like the process has worked out the way that they want it to, right? One of the things we have to do is we have to get more administrators of color. Okay, schools have to move, it's a top-down process, right? So presidents can't be afraid to have a black or Latino or Asian director of athletics, you know, associate director of athletics, senior women's administrator, whatever it is. Okay, we have to do our outreach around those kinds of things as well. So what's happening in the NFL has been great, because it brings to the forefront what happens on the professional level. Okay, but they're their own private entity, their own private business. Okay, I know the Crafts well. Okay, with the Patriots, I know them well. Okay, they're good people. I've had many conversations with them. But as the process goes, you know how the process is going to go for them. Okay, and I hate to say it that way, but I know. Okay, and there have been times that there have been jobs that I might have even thought of. Say, hey, look, I might put my name in the hat for this, and I look and I'm not getting that job. Okay, it's a shame that in 2022 there are athletic departments that don't have any people of color in them in this country. It's a shame. I'm not going to name them. I'm not worried about it, but it's a shame.
It is a shame. And so I'll ask you this delicate question, because you couldn't make that broad statement about Springfield College. And I know that you love this place, and there are a lot of people in this room who love this place, and a lot of people who have been really devoted to trying to make this school walk the walk to a better degree. And it's been a challenge, and I know that our athletic director is deeply committed to these issues, and that, you know, Calvin has been involved. How can Springfield College do this job better? Because that's, you know, I think that the lack of, you know, there's some diversity, but there's not a lot of diversity among our coaching ranks. What can we do better?
I think, you know, we're all people. We all make good decisions, the decisions that we feel like work for the place. You know, we have to continue to build our minority population at the college. Okay, again, look at it like when I was in the first grade and I walked into the classroom and nobody looks like me. Okay? That's important. That's important that I have somebody I can go and sit and have a conversation with and talk about what's happening for me culturally. And if we don't have that resource for those people, you know, the Johns, you know, Craig, whoever it is, Naomi, whoever it is, if you don't have those people who can share their experiences and how you can adjust, they won't stay anyways. Okay? And so you need to be able to, one, have that resource, two, actively be part of that search. And it may be that we go get former players who've been here, who understand the culture, okay? Make them a GA, make the experience, you know, their experience helps them as well. If they're not having a fun experience, y'all know as players, right? But if you're not having a fun experience, y'all ain't doing it. Okay? They're just not. So they have to, when you're out recruiting and you get young men and women who are having a good experience on that team, that's when the coach has a conversation, says, hey, would you consider being a GA after you leave here? What are you thinking about? Having real down-to-earth life decisions and conversations with people. Okay, and I started out with that's what it happens, right? It's conversation. Now they may say, no, I'm good, whatever, okay? But for the most part, they know you, you know, they can get a graduate degree, whatever it is, or it might even be, I'm one to always try to help. So Coach Sarasul will call me every year, right? Mike calls every year and says, Aaron, who you got? Do you have anybody who can be a GA for me? Okay, so I evaluate guys who say, I want to be a coach, okay? One, I'm not going to send them a dud who's not going to have work ethic, because it's my name online and everything that goes with that, okay? But they have to understand, if they don't fit, I know the culture here, they don't fit with what happens in Springfield College, they're not going to make it, okay? So if I got one, I'll tell them. If I don't, I'll let them know, look, I don't have them right now, I can ask around and see if there's any guys, okay? But the other part is people got to pay their dues through the process. One thing we've gotten away from is people paying dues. They want to go and be fresh out, and now I need that $40,000, $80,000, $90,000 job. Like, I tell them I need that too. Okay? So we have to get them to understand, like my mom did for me, that in the long run, this is better for you if you want to be in this business. Okay? And then we have to continue to just do outreach. Okay? From all departments. When you get a candidate, vet them and bring them around to all the different people who you know can sell your place. It's recruiting. It's the process of recruiting. We have to do the same thing with minority candidates when we have it.
Absolutely. So this is a great conversation. I'm loving it. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And I see that we're at about 11:25.
We're talking too much.
We're talking too much. And so we are.
I want to hear from them.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. We want to see your questions. So we have about 10 minutes before we get to our rewards program, and Calvin is going to.
Put one on each side.
Calvin's going to be dishing the rock with this microphone. And so, what questions do you have here for Coach Aaron Kelton?
And it can be about anything from social justice to NFL stuff, whatever it is. If I can answer it, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. So that's what I do. No questions? Okay, program's over. No, okay, but young lady in the back.
Hi, my name is Faith Durden. I'm a master's student in the athletic counseling program. And my question is around so I've heard, oh yeah, more black coaches. But some years ago, they were like, what if these black people don't even want to be coaches? Have you heard anything around that, or have any ideas, or just anything? Because that's something I've heard, so when this topic keeps coming up, I'm like, well, what if they don't want to be? So.
Okay. Well, to me, if you don't want to be, don't do it. Plain and simple. Easy math. Right? The guys who are looking to get opportunities are guys who are committed to it and want to do it. What we're talking about is them getting opportunities, okay? And the playing field actually being level. That they haven't had a side conversation and already drawn up a contract for a guy but they're just bringing somebody in because we got to fill the quota of who we interview. Okay, that's not fair to anybody. Okay, one of the things that really I'm excited about is the way leagues have gotten more diverse around women. From women basketball coaches in men's programs to officials and different things that are happening across all these leagues. Baseball is so far behind they never will catch up, and neither will hockey. Okay, but you know, football and basketball have made a transition because they had forward thinkers. Okay, they had guys who promote their men and women and weren't afraid to hire women. Okay, Popovich is big on that. He gonna let you know in about 5 words, okay, why he did it, and his people go on and get jobs. Okay, because I think part of it too is we've always looked at it like coaching is a male sport. Okay, but what some of these great women are doing out in the world right now, the sky's the limit in terms of coaching. There are more women trying to get into football coaching than ever before. There are women trying to cross over into the men's game because the men have crossed over 3 times into the women's game. Mm-hmm. And so if we talk about leveling the playing field, let's level the playing field in all aspects of it.
Amen to that. Terry.
For Aaron, do you think from the coaching you've done over the years, do you think that your players over the years, do they appreciate the trailblazers? Jackie Robinson in baseball, Willie O'Ree in hockey, Earl Lloyd in basketball, and then Fritz Pollard and Bobby Marshall in pro football. Do you think the young players appreciate the sacrifices of the trailblazers?
Some do. If you're a student of the game, of your particular sport, you recognize who they are. Some don't know, what happened 2 weeks ago. Okay? Never mind a trailblazer, okay? That's too far, that's too long ago, Coach. The favorite line, I wasn't born then, right? But like I explained to him, somebody paved the way and created an opportunity for you, okay? And that's part of it too. We know that being at Springfield College because, James Naismith and basketball, the invention of basketball, all of that. We get it, okay? But if you saw on television, right? Everybody's like, Kansas, he invented, he was at Springfield College. I had to tell my wife, they're lying on TV. That's fake news. Okay, that's fake news. Okay? So we have to do our due diligence in making sure that we keep them informed, okay, of the traditions of their particular sport and programs. And that's our responsibility, okay, especially as coaches of color, okay. And we need to share those experiences, and I tell all my teams, okay, understand, folks, we're not going to get a single call, okay, and it's not because you did or didn't do something, okay, it's because as I look out, every referee in this league right there on the field is white. I keep it real about that. I get a couple calls. I know I smooth them a little bit, but when I look at it, I'm honest about how the process is going to go. Okay, and that's what I try to get people to do, is be honest about what's going to happen. And they might not have racial, bone in their body, but they ain't worried about any of that. But I again check all the boxes for me, so that I'm prepared. Okay, it's no different. It's no different than being on television and understanding what the media is going to say, right? So there's a way in which I can say something, and there's a way in which he can say something, and it will be taken 2 totally different ways by a bunch of people. So you have to be aware of those kinds of things. And sometimes people are not prepared and ready for those experiences. So.
Yes, Grace.
Go ahead.
so people can hear you.
So I know we already talked about like how Springfield like kind of the upper people can like help out and like everything. But like I know there's a lot of student athletes here, so do you have any advice for us on how like we can take an initiative now or how we can start like networking for the future?
Fantastic question. Okay. So here's what I would say to you. In every single person in this room can do it. I live by this. Seek the story in the stranger. Do we know what that means? If it's somebody I don't know, it's okay for me to have a conversation with them, okay, and get to know them, because that relationship may turn into something and blossom into something great. So it's okay to be friends with somebody outside of your regular peer group, right? It's okay to go and hang out with other friends, okay? And then when you get recruits and people on campus or people from your town, some of you guys live in very white towns, that's okay. That's okay. But when prospects and recruits come into the program to spend time with your program, okay, spend the time with them in an honest way and explain to them, we'd love to have you be a part of our program. Who don't want to feel loved? It's not just because coach said it, but I'm going to be honest with you. We need some diversity on our team. That's okay for you to say that. Because then they know that you're socially conscious. Otherwise, if you don't have that conversation, they don't know. So guess what? They're probably not coming because nobody's had that conversation. And we as coaches need to be able to have that same conversation with recruits when we go out and recruits a couple. We don't have a lot of diversity on our team, okay? But we want you to be a part of it. And I want you to bring somebody later on when we go to bring somebody else. And that's how we get more diversity in our team. It's okay to have that conversation. You guys are so equipped with everything that you need, okay? But your generation, I guess every generation, but yours more now is scared because of what people are going to think about it. If you're honest about it, I think people will respect that a lot more. I know I do. Okay? And the reason why I came to Springfield College, because I had guys on this team, okay, who said, look, we want you here. It didn't matter. We had a common goal. We had fun. We did all kinds of stuff. You know what? Some of the names I named today, some of the guys I went to school with, we're in a group chat. It's about 12 of us in a group chat right now. To this day, they're gonna go crazy when I post some pictures from campus. Okay? And then we get together once a year. Okay? To talk about our families, to talk about life, have a good time. That's what this place is about. That's what was created here. Okay? When probably 50 teammates reached out to me, okay, about having got my new job. We post pictures of our team. I don't know, did you see it on Facebook? Everybody's got a comment. Look at those uniforms, they're terrible, da, 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 da. Okay? But we don't let an opportunity go by, because when you do, you're going to a funeral. That's the last time you talk to them, okay? And I say that because since I left Springfield College, I've had at least 4, I think it's more closer to 6 or 7 of my teammates pass away. A couple of them who I played against in high school, who we were friends, we would go to neighboring towns and hang out at parties together and the whole deal. So you never know when it's going to happen. And so that's what I would say for you guys. Reach out, show the love, that's what you do. And your comment area is the game. So you already got it in. Who's your favorite team? Why you like them? Who's your best? But come on. You're right. You ask that question, you get A's. I didn't get no A's here, but you get A's.
Well, we could go on and on. I would love to, but the clock, it is a ticking. And Aaron, this has just been so invigorating, so energizing, inspirational. Really can't thank you enough for coming back to Springfield College and just illuminating all of us with just some very powerful thoughts and leadership in the best, best Springfield College tradition. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, ladies. That was a great run. I'm telling you, I was all in. It's great to be home, okay? It's great to get home, and certainly if I can ever do anything for any of you, and I mean this, reach out to me, okay? I'm at Savannah State University in Savannah, Georgia. Beautiful. 20 minutes from the beach. And it's 80 degrees there right now. Just want to throw those out. But you can reach me, on that site, or, Coach Sarasulo and Coach Webster and all those guys over in football know how to get in touch with me. Craig knows how to get to me. There's a bunch of people who know how to get to me. But this place is special, okay? And keep it special. That's all. I don't care what happens. Keep the place special, okay? And we'll be okay. We'll get through this, okay? But most importantly, have fun while you're here, okay? Because you don't get these years back when you leave. So have fun while you're here. All right. Thank you very much.
I'd like to now turn the program over to Michelle Cecina, who will present our Leveling the Playing Field Award in the name of Tom Waddell.
Thank you, Marty. And thank you, Terry, for sharing your book with us today. Thank you, Aaron, for sharing your story and for challenging us today. Just want to start with, my name is Michelle Cecina. I'm the Assistant Athletic Director for Compliance and Student Athlete Wellbeing. And I have the distinct pleasure of announcing this year's Tom Waddell Leveling the Playing Field Award winner. I'd like to start by thanking Phyllis Plotnick, who started the Tom Waddell Fund, as well as all of the donors to the fund. The award in Tom Waddell's name is not predicated on athletic excellence. The winner need not be a standout on the playing surface, but they should demonstrate an authentic off-field commitment to making the world a better place. An activity or combination of activities that show a demonstrated commitment to leveling the playing field can make a student athlete eligible for award consideration. This year's award winner spearheaded efforts to make Springfield College an inclusive environment for all students, especially the LGBTQ+ community. Today's honoree was a member of the student athlete leadership team that started the LGBTQ affinity group for student athletes and helped partner with the national organization Athlete Ally, an organization that believes everyone should have equal access, opportunity, and experience in sports, regardless of your sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. Through this organization, our recipient has been able to bring nationally renowned speakers to Alden Street. Her continued impact is best illustrated and articulated by those who have watched her grow and develop during her time here. Starting with her coach, who said, "It is not often that I'm able to coach a student athlete who has made a major contribution to social justice issues on the Springfield College campus. This student's leadership has had a direct impact on how we think, feel, and view others. Whether she is representing herself as a teammate, a SALT leader, or a student in our sport management program, she has demonstrated her passion, commitment, and drive to make this campus community a better place. Her spirit for justice is often heard in the gym, fields, and especially in the campus union. She has started a movement here on campus, and that will continue long after she leaves Alden Street. I am so proud of what she has accomplished, and I'm grateful that I have been a part of her journey. It has been such an honor and privilege to be her coach. Like Tom Waddell said, she has taken a risk to make the world a better place, and that has made all the difference. Her teammate said, she is someone who educates others on how to be a better student, athlete, and person in this world and campus. She is someone that is constantly finding ways to educate our team with the LGBTQ+ community, along with diversity and inclusion, through different speakers, workshops, and meetings that are offered. She is a positive, welcoming, passionate student on campus who inspires others to follow. Her impact at Springfield College has been lasting, and she is so deserving of this award. Springfield College Director of Athletics Craig Poisson added, "Today's honoree's energy and drive on the court was noticeable to anyone who watched her play during her career. However, her spirit to champion equity will long be remembered as she consistently took advantage of opportunities to lift others up, ensure their voices were heard, and advocate to make Springfield College a welcoming place for all." This sport management major, who has been a 4-year member of the women's basketball team, will graduate this May. I now present to you the winner of the 2022 Tom Waddell Leveling the Playing Field Award winner, Grace DeZindelet.
All right, well, I want to start off by thanking everyone who has supported me over the past 4 years. I don't think I would have been here today if it wasn't for my family, my teammates, Coach Graves, Coach Colleen, and the entire women's basketball team, and the Springfield College Athletics Department. It was inspiring to see so many athletes gain their leadership skills from the different clubs and organizations on campus. My sophomore year, I joined the Student Athlete Leadership Team, which is where I was able to join the DEI subcommittee, which is where I met Lily, and we began discussing the importance of LGBTQ student athletes. From there, the athletic department began the filming of the True Colors video. This was a turning point for me. There was a million opportunities handed to me following that video, the most influential one being Athlete Ally. Lily and I had a passion to help others and knew the steps to become a campus chapter for Athlete Ally. The chapter focuses on making athletic communities more inclusive and less discriminatory and helping athletes to advocate for LGBTQ equality. Without the help of Michelle, Daisy, and everyone in the athletic department, we would not have been able to create such an inclusive club for LGBTQ athletes. Since the start of Athlete Ally, we've been able to be the first NUMAC school to add pronouns to their rosters, received the 2021 Division III LGBTQ Athletics Department Conference of the Year Award. We have sponsored some amazing guest speakers, including SC Love Rob Kearney. We've hosted a seat at the table, and most importantly, we've been able to create inclusion and comfort for LGBTQ student athletes on campus. With all this being said, I do not believe my name deserves to sit alongside Tom Waddell, although I am very grateful that some of the things I've done on campus can be compared to his. I don't think it would be fair to accept this award without acknowledging the amount of work ahead or the work of Tom Waddell himself. For those who do not know, Waddell was one of the greatest athletes in the world. He was forced to hide his identity because it was just the culture at the time. Waddell took 6th in the world in the decathlon in 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. He was a paratrooper in the Army. He was a doctor with a dazzling sense of adventure, working in Africa on patients with diseases and becoming the physician for the Saudi Arabian Olympic team in 1976. Many call Waddell's coming out as a revelation and stepping stone into a new world. His courage and resilience is an inspiration to anyone who knows his story. Today, there are currently 31 states that have introduced bills that ban transgender athletes from participating in sports consistent with their gender identities. A total of 12 states have passed bills that ban trans athletes from competing entirely. As a community, we began to lay the foundation for others to continue to work, but it is nowhere near over. Like Billie Jean King always said, pressure is a privilege, and I am grateful for the endless support and love Springfield College has offered me. I have been provided with the tools I need to generate a positive and just environment. Being rewarded for my actions has never been my intention, but it is a great honor to be a recipient of this award. It is now and always has been my goal to make this world a more just place for all. I am grateful that Tom Waddell was able to pave a way for Springfield College student athletes to make a difference, and I am proud to play an integral part of continuing his legacy. Thank you.